going on, Camcast? Gonna do a little movie ranker for you. It's been I put on the Instagram today. I don't know if you guys have been able to see that or not. That's at cam.cast. Of course, that's the central hub and not the X-rated hub, the normal hub for everything that you need to know for the Camcast. All my polls are up there. I have memes up there. I talk about sport, all this stuff. You guys already know the deal. If you've been listening, if you haven't been listening or you haven't been tuning into the Camcast, go ahead and like and subscribe below. Make sure you're sharing. Make sure you're getting engaged in a lot of the content that I got going on. So The Ringer, which is a pretty prevalent podcast network, they had a question. What's your favorite Pixar movie? What's your rankings? So it kind of inspired me to put the question out there on my Instagram. Again, it's at cam.cast. And to kind of think about what my potential list is going to be. And I actually made a list, a Pixar ranking list. And so I'm going to give that to you guys. It's going to be a quicker episode, quicker pod, quicker YouTube video, whatever, platform you're listening on. I'm not really sure anymore. It's everywhere. I just know I'm everywhere. Either my face or my voice is going to be on any platform that you could possibly find. So you guys are welcome. As far as I'm concerned, more me is a good thing. I'm just kidding. I'm sorry. Sorry for being, I haven't really done a ton of stuff lately. Just still getting wrapped up in the new job and trying to figure out a lot of the stuff that comes along with that, but it's been fun. I just wanted to make sure I got a video or episode up within the next couple of days, because the 15th, today is the 17th is when I'm recording this. The 15th of June is actually the 1 year anniversary of the Camcast. A year ago, the 15th is when I had my very first episode of Camcast. So it's been, I've made it a year. I've learned a lot, done a ton of episodes. I think I've done 41 regular episodes, a bunch of reviews, a couple rankings, and, I've just had a lot of fun. I've had a great time doing this so far. And I'm hoping, the next 365 days brings me a lot more, subscriptions, a lot more people that get involved in the channel. Just a lot more fun, a lot more, you guys reaching out to me, talking, asking me what you want me to talk about next. And I have a lot of plans moving forward, as I always do. It's just, working everything out and stuff like that. But, no, I love it. And, it's just one of those things where I enjoy talking about stuff. Those of you that know me, those of you who've been following, you understand that I talk. It's what I do. So, being able to get my thoughts across and, a lot of you guys tuning in, either listening or watching it means a lot to me. So as I've said before, please, like and subscribe to the channel and make sure you're sharing and all that stuff, all that good stuff. Check out the link tree, all that good stuff. But, yeah, we're going to go ahead and do a Pixar ranker. So basically I found this test online, and, it showed me exactly what basically it put all these movies next to each other, and it had me basically here, I gotta grab this cord. I'm about to die over here. Basically it had all these Pixar movies side by side, and until it gave me like a full ranking of all 23 of the Pixar movies that are currently in production. It's actually kind of funny and ironic I'm doing this, but tomorrow is a new Pixar movie is dropping on Disney Plus. It's called Luca. I literally know nothing about it. I read Luca and I automatically assume Luca Doncic, who's just an amazing basketball player. But it's, so it's, I guess this is that movie. But, so I'm going to be ranking the 23 movies from Toy Story to Soul. There are two of them I haven't seen. Okay. I haven't seen The Good Dinosaur, and I have not seen Brave. So those are the only two movies that I haven't seen at all. So I'm not going to obviously really put those in my ranking. And I think that's fine. So those are going to be obviously number 23 and 22. And then we're basically going to go from there. So I have my list right here. We're going to keep going. All right. So number 21 is Cars 2. Cars 2 is a bad movie. It's not good. I watched it. I probably think I watched about half of it, and it was just garbage. It wasn't funny. It wasn't good. It had none of the charm of Cars. And luckily Cars 3 came along to make us completely forget about Cars 2. Cars 2 felt like one of those direct to VHS movies that Disney used to do a lot, but the really bad ones. So not like an extremely goofy movie, kind of like more like Fox and the Hound 2 or Pocahontas 2, just a bad movie. So it was garbage. Number 20, this one came out, and it was like a movie that came out. The sequel was like 15 to 18 years after the original. Everyone was really hyped on it. They basically gave a secondary character, their own movie, and I couldn't stand it. I thought it was corny. I thought it was cheesy. I didn't like it at all, and that is Finding Dory. I thought Finding Dory was really, really just not watchable. It just wasn't fun to watch. I hated my experience watching. I remember I watched it by myself in the theater when it came out in 2016, And I was like, wow, this is just not bad. I was the only person in the theater on one of the opening weeks. It was just not a good movie. I didn't like it at all. Number 18, this might get a lot of hate, and I don't care because this is really how I feel about this. I'm glad the movie ranker was able to put this in the correct spot for me. Number 18 is. Oh, no, no, no. I'm 19. Sorry. Number 19. Number 19, it's a movie that I feel is really philosophical, but it's not a movie that I really love to go and rewatch. But it is a brilliant movie, and I can't take that away from it. And that's Wall-E. Some people really love Wall-E. It's usually on people's lists, like in their top five. It's number 18 or 19 for me, just because it's not super rewatchable. You're never, as a kid, that movie was just really slow and boring and pretty played out. So I wasn't a huge fan of that one. But it is what it is. Some people love it. Some people, like me, are just not a huge fan. So now I'll go back into 18 with the hot take that a lot of people are probably going to be kind of upset about, and that is Toy Story 4. Okay, the Toy Story trilogy is how I'm always going to view it. The first three movies, one of the greatest trilogies in movie history. And then Toy Story 4 came along and gave us an unwanted romantic comedy, basically undid everything that the ending of Toy Story 3 did, which is Bonnie has to take care of Woody and, basically watch after him because Andy's going to be going to college and he doesn't want to have his toys anymore. Woody goes on his own, starts his own life, and basically that's the point of the movie, and I just can't get on board with that. They made Buzz the dumbest character in the movie, and Buzz is usually extremely smart and intelligent. And they separated Buzz and Woody at the end, and it ruined everything that the first three movies in Toy Story set up, and I can't get behind it. I feel like it was a cash grab. I didn't like the movie. I like some of the new side, characters like Key and Peele were great as stuffed animals. They were great, but I didn't like the movie, and it's just one of those things where I'm never going to get on board with it. All right, so going from my thoughts on Toy Story 4, we're going right into number 17, and that's a movie I probably haven't seen in, God, 15, 20 years, and I'm 28 years old, A Bug's Life. Okay, Kevin Spacey voiced an amazing villain. It's the second movie ever made by Pixar. It's just really forgettable. I never, think about going back and watch that movie. Some people really love it, and I think a lot of that is just nostalgia, or, it's never going to be high up on my ranking list for Pixar movies. It's just not that guy, pal. It's just not. Sorry, I had to do the meme that's going on right now. So that's number 17. 16 is the newest movie that has come out. Came out December 25th of last year. Besides Luca that's coming out tomorrow. A movie that I expected a lot more from because it had Jamie Foxx. It had the idea of souls and it's the movie. It's Soul. I think that the movie took itself way too seriously and was trying to do way too much. The beings that were in charge of this pre-world thing were kind of hard to get behind and hard to understand, and things like that I don't really buy. And I think they were trying to cater this movie more to adults than children, which is fine. Oh, but I did appreciate the New York Knicks jokes though. The New York Knicks joke, I thought that was pretty great. For you basketball fans that caught that joke, it was probably the best joke that Pixar's had in a while. But they're it's number 16. Number 15 for me is going to be the OG Cars. Okay, Cars is a fun watch. It is. It's a fun watch. There's nothing groundbreaking about it. It's a pretty simple story. Guy gets lost. He doesn't want to be in this town. Is stuck in this town. Eventually loves the town. Betters himself. That's basically the plot. The thing about Cars is it's extremely marketable, and Disney knows this, and that's why they have Cars Land, which is fantastic if you've ever been to California Adventure in Anaheim, California. But Cars is an okay movie. I actually like number 14, Cars 3, more than the original Cars. I thought the weight of Cars 3 was a lot better than the first Cars. They made the story was a lot better. I felt like it was more grounded. The second half of the movie was phenomenal, where he's trying to figure things out and kind of be a better person. It's a better car. But Cars 3, I watched it twice, and I was kind of surprised how much I loved the second half. The first half reminded me a lot of Cars 1, but the second half was phenomenal, and it kind of put it above the original Cars for me, which was kind of a surprise. Number 13 might get flack from a certain couple of people that I know really enjoy this movie, and it's really high on their list, but it's Up. And that's number 13. If you take away the first 10 minutes of Up might be the one of the worst movies in the Pixar library of movies. I'm sorry, guys. I know you wanna turn it off right now. Don't turn it off. Keep listening. It's just one of those things where the rest of the movie's pretty bland. You know, it's not exciting. The villain is weird. The dogs talk. Like there's a lot of the movie that I don't really care about. But those first 10 minutes are phenomenal. Okay, you could have stopped the movie right there and had one of the best Pixar shorts. That if it would have been just a Pixar short, it would have been still one of the best things Pixar's ever created in those first 10 minutes. It's phenomenal. You cry easily. But other than that, the movie doesn't do much for me. Number 12 is another movie that came out last year. It came out at the beginning of the pandemic, and it was just a fun quest movie. I had a great time watching it, and that's Onward. You know, voiced with Tom Holland and Chris Pratt, and there's something about that movie that really resonated with me. I think it's the adventure element of it. I love a good quest. There's not a lot of movies nowadays that have, you know, the main characters go and do like an exciting quest, like, you know, a la Goonies, a la Stand By Me, you know, those type of movies. But this movie had a little bit of the bones of that. There was a little bit of mystery and intrigue to it. Great character acting, or excuse me, voice acting for these characters. Great character development, and I cried pretty profusely at the end. So that's those of you that don't know on the Camcast. I am a bitch when it comes to sappy things. I watch This Is Us and cry every single episode. It's just what I do. You know, I'm 6'5", but I have just a giant heart for whatever reason. You know, every once in a while it shows itself. But number 11, another movie that had a sequel way after the original one, and this movie was a lot of fun. It's like a, you know, G or PG rated version of Revenge of the Nerds or The Internship, and it is Monsters University. It's a fantastic movie. I really like this movie. It's fun. There's nothing crazy about it. There's nothing about, you know, it's not breaking any new ground. It's just fun seeing these characters in a different environment, and you know, being their younger selves. Just seeing how cocky Sully was and how determined Mike was and how they became friends. It's a great movie. And if you're not a huge fan of Monsters University, you're not doing it. You're not giving it a fair shot, because it's a solid movie, and I feel like it should be up there for everybody. But for me, it's number 11 because Pixar's Pixar. It is what it is. Number 10. I know this is going to offend one person at least on this list, so I apologize to Jen. It's Finding Nemo. Okay, Finding Nemo, when it came out, it was amazing. You know, the animation was great, the story's fun, but for me, the more I think about it, the less rewatchable it really is. There's nothing really super super exciting about the movie. Yeah, Bruce the shark is great. You know, Crush the turtle's great. Marlin just gets kind of tired after a while. This is when Dory was still fun before they gave her own movie, and you know, I think Ellen DeGeneres is kind of frowned upon nowadays, so I guess that kind of knocks Finding Nemo down even a couple more pegs. But there's something about it. It's still a great movie. I'm not taking any away from it. It's still enjoyable. But for me, it's just not a movie I'm ever going to keep going back and rewatching over and over and over again. And as we keep going up this list, a lot of these movies are movies I plan on, you know, rewatching, or ones that I, you know, rewatch excessively all the time. And Finding Nemo's just never been that one for me. But it's still in my top 10, so it's pretty good. Out of 23, it's not bad. It's top half. So, I mean, you know, it is what it is. Number 9 is a sequel that came out in 1997. It's the third movie in Pixar, or it came out in 98, one of those 2 years, or 99, one of those 3 years. Toy Story 2. Toy Story 2 is great. Toy Story 2 is a really fun movie. Definitely not as good as the first two, so there's a reason why those two haven't come up. But no, Toy Story 2 is phenomenal. It's a great movie. It has a great villain in Prospector Pete. It's got a little bit of intrigue, of mystery. It has a great, you know, Luke Skywalker, Darth Vader type thing going on with Buzz Lightyear and Zurg, so that was a lot of fun. And, you know, it's just got a lot of really great moments in that movie. And it's, you know, Woody's great in the movie. You learn about Jesse. You learn about Woody's Roundup. But no, Toy Story 2, solid movie. Great number 9. Number 8, another movie that had a sequel that came out long after the original one. You know, the original one came out in 2004. I believe this came out in, I want to say, let me pull up my notes. It came out in 2018, so it's been 14 years later. Great movie. I loved it. I loved it in theaters. It really made me think. Incredibles 2. Okay, Incredibles 2 is phenomenal. You know, you have some of the best scenes ever with Jack having all those different powers, and him going basically to Auntie Edna's house and her teaching him how to control his powers, you know, with the suit and everything. And no, Incredibles 2 is great. And the Screen Slayer scenes, they really creep me out the first time I watched it in the theaters. And that one scene where Elastigirl's trying to debunk the Screen Slayer, and you know, all those bright lights come on the screen all at once. It was kind of jarring. That was one of the first time I was kind of like, oh my God, you know, a little disoriented just from watching a movie. And I thought that was, the visual effects in the movie were phenomenal, so I loved it. But that's my number 8. Number 7, the one that started it all, Toy Story. Okay, Toy Story has a great plot. Toy Story's animation for the time is just groundbreaking. It was 95. Computers were barely a thing, and they're out here making an entire feature-length movie, with computers. And I still don't know how they did it. They had one of the greatest villains of all time in Sid. The creepy toys. It had Mr. Potato Head was horrible. It has a Buzz, you're flying. He's like, this isn't flying. This is falling with style. And it's just little lines like that throughout the movie. Like, you are a toy. You are a sad and strange little man, and you have my pity. And it's Toy Story is very quotable. I think it's more quotable than all the other movies combined, in Pixar. And I think that's just because it's really stood the test of time. Yeah, it came out in '95. That's phenomenal. That really is. Just that came out when I was 2 years old, and the technology that they used for that movie is just, I don't know how they did it. And there's a whole bunch, you can watch videos on it and stuff like that, but even still, like, computers weren't that mainstream, and Steve Jobs had his fingerprints all over Pixar at that time, so it might have been a lot of his ingenuity that got this thing done. But Toy Story for me is still my number 7. Number 6 is a movie that is just, it's one of the most rewatchable Pixar movies. It really is. It's a great quest movie. It's a great buddy cop movie in a sense. It's kind of creepy, or it's still creepy to this day. It's got one of the greatest villains in Pixar, and Randall Boggs. Of course, I'm talking about Monsters Inc. Monsters Inc. is phenomenal. Okay, Monsters Inc. Basically, this was Pixar's 4th movie, and it's a risk. They're making a movie about monsters in a monster world where they scare children to gather their screams to power the city, but they're also they're afraid of children, because if they get touched in their world, they think that they're going to die instantly. It's a weird dichotomy that they kind of created, and the movie's just phenomenal. It's got great voice acting. Billy Crystal is Mike Wazowski. It has Sully played by John Goodman, who's perfect casting, really quotable, and it's got one of my favorite side characters in Raj. She goes, "Wazowski, you didn't file your paperwork last night. I'm watching you, Wazowski. Always watching." No, but it's like, I really love that movie, and it's one of the most rewatchable, and I just can't. But the fact that it's number 6 just tells you how good, Pixar is, and how much I love Pixar, because it's, I don't know, I'm gonna keep going. I'm kind of fanboying over here. Number 5, one of the movies I cried the most at, still cry at it. I think it was the timing. This movie came out in 2010, right when I was about to start my senior year of high school, so it was, feeling sentimental. It's Toy Story 3. Toy Story 3 is just, it's unbelievable, okay? The story, Lotso, I think, might be the greatest Pixar villain. He's brilliant. He's a brilliant Pixar villain. He's not stupid at all. He's very vengeful. He's very spiteful. He plays up like he's your good friend, but then he, rips everything away from you. It's got 2 heart-wrenching scenes. The one right when all the toys think they're about to die at the dump, they get saved by the LGMs, and then the very last time they play with Andy. Oh man, that scene. He's playing with each one of his toys, giving him Bonnie, and he's, you're getting emotional, you're feeling it. And then she takes Woody out of the box, and then Andy takes him, and he's like, oh. And then at that moment, you feel it. You really like that. For me, that moment, it's so emotional. And, then he drives away, and then Woody gets up, kind of wakes up. He's like, so long, partner. And it's real. And they should have fucking ended it there. And they didn't. And they made Toy Story 4. I got an issue with you, Pixar. You should have fucking ended it back in 2010 instead of come back in, 2019, 9 years later, and give me Toy Story 4? I don't want that. I was fine. I'm sure everybody was fine. You wanted to give us Forky in Toy Story 4? No thanks. I would have rather have had that ending. I could do without Forky. Fuck Forky. I don't give a shit about Forky. I wanted that ending for Toy Story 3 and to make it, it's a perfect ending. Whatever. That's a completely different issue. So Toy Story 3 is my number 5, which is actually kind of incredible because my, things have changed. Number 4 for me, I think it's the best story in the entire Pixar universe. Pixar movie, whatever you want to call it. All the Pixar films. It's Ratatouille. Ratatouille is amazing. I think that's where a lot of, people my age, their love for cooking came from, was Ratatouille. Anyone can cook. That whole thing where, it's the message in Ratatouille is phenomenal. Basically, it's like it doesn't matter what you look like, what you're doing, what creed or whatever you are, you can do what you want if you truly believe in it. And I think that that kind of resonates. And there's just elements of the movie that are just phenomenal. I really do love that movie. It's beautifully shot. It's got a great score. It has that go. That's not exactly French, but it sounds kind of vaguely French. So I like to imitate the music when it goes to. It just sounds funny to me. I love Ratatouille. And that's why it's my number 4. Number 3 is the only time that a Fantastic Four movie has ever gone right. Of course, I'm talking about The Incredibles. The Incredibles ages so well; it's perfect. It's got Syndrome, one of the most amazing characters ever put on screen. It's got Mr. Incredible, Mrs. Incredible, Dash, Violet, Jack. It's Frozone, of course. Honey, where's my super suit? Why do you need to know? That's another extremely quotable movie, and we quote it all. People my age quote it all the time. It's just phenomenal. That movie came out, 2004, and it's aged like fine wine. It gets better every single time you watch it. It's one of my few Pixar DVDs I actually have. So I was watching it long before everything was on Disney Plus. I can't get enough of this movie. I love it so much. It's perfect casting. Sorry, I'm getting a little gassy. It's perfect casting. It's perfect casting, and it's a fantastic movie. I just really love watching it so much. So that's my number 3. Number 2 is a movie that I wasn't sure if I was going to like originally, and that I wound up just absolutely loving it. It's a movie that makes you really think. It really makes you evaluate your life, and it puts you in a situation where you say to yourself, like, I've those type of things have kind of happened to me. These life-changing events that have kind of made you who you are, and you've had to adapt to it, and then you get new likes, new dislikes, and it plays up the element of emotion so amazingly. A movie that was made for children to explain adult themes, and it's Inside Out. Inside Out is absolutely phenomenal. They basically they put characterization to the 5 main emotions: joy, sadness, disgust, anger, and frightened. What is his name? Scared. I don't know. Scared. I think that's his name. It's frightened. I don't know what the fuck his name is, but they do such an amazing job of portraying this young girl Riley, her life as she's uplifted from Minnesota to move to San Francisco, which is a big, it's a culture shock. It's a big deal. And it's at the same time she's kind of growing up, becoming, a young lady. And they illustrate all these things so perfectly. They show that it's okay to be mad. It's okay to be disgusted with things. It's okay to be scared. It's okay to be sad. Those things happen. That's what happens when you grow up. You're not going to be joyful all the time. When you're a kid and you're a small child, things are always going to happen to you that kind of shape you into who you are. The only thing you can do is accept the fact that something was sad, accept the fact that something made you mad, grow from it, and just be better because of it. And I really think that was what Inside Out was going for. And I know some people don't agree with me, but Inside Out, for those reasons, is just such a beautiful film. And it's one that I go back to over and over again because I truly believe it is extremely rewatchable. And the more I watch it, the more I learn. In actuality, I mean, it really is a brilliant portrayal of growing up. It really, they do such an amazing job. Plus, it's got one of the saddest scenes, with Bing Bong, Riley's imaginary friend, sacrificing himself so that way Joy can get out of the the memory gap or whatever it was, and where all the memories go to die. He pushes her up and he's like, "Take her to the moon for me, will you?" And he just disappears. God, that shit was sad and it shouldn't have been. But there's a level of you feel it because anyone that ever had an imaginary friend going up or some type of inanimate object that they really cared about, a stuffed animal, a blanket, whatever it may be, eventually those things go away, and you don't remember where they went, and you don't even remember at some point what it was. But at one point you wake up and it's gone. And that's what it's like to grow up and to age and to mature and to kind of go through that in this animated feature made by Pixar. It's amazing. It's amazing that they were able to do these things, and that's why Inside Out really, really resonates with me. And I get emotional every single time I watch it because you realize you're like, it really is that way. We've all gone through something like this, and they're basically showing us that it's okay. It happens. Life happens. It's different for everybody, but we all have similar things that not similar things, but different things happen to us, but they affect us all similarly. And I think it's beautiful. That's what it means, to be a human. And I don't mean to get so philosophical about it, but the movie really does make me think. There are a few movies that have made me think this much, like this and Interstellar. Those are like the two. Um, so my number one, I haven't said it yet, and there's something about this movie that is extremely rewatchable. It's a beautiful film. It has amazing music, and the last 15 minutes of this movie, I sobbed like a big bitch every single time. I could literally go on YouTube right now, play the moment from when, of course, it's Coco, by the way. Number one is Coco. I can literally go from the very end of the movie to the part where Miguel sings to his mama Coco all the way to the last, 5 minutes, and I am bawling my eyes out. There's something about the movie that is just so beautiful. It really, I'm not Hispanic, okay? I don't really understand to the degree what Dia de los Muertos is. What I do understand is it honors the family that has passed over, and it's a huge deal, right? It's an enormous deal, and I believe in Mexico. I don't know if they celebrate it in the States as much, but I know in Mexico it's huge, okay? And the level of detail that the movie put in with Miguel actually stringing the chords on his guitar when he's playing, and how it shows how much he actually loves music, and him finally realizing that it's important to carry on your family legacy, and the ending where he's playing in the courtyard music for his family, and his grandpa grabs his guitar, turns into a ghost guitar, and plays along with him. It's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. It has one of the greatest twists in Pixar history, with Ernesto de la Cruz not being his grandfather and Hector actually being his real grandfather. It's beautifully shot. It looks beautiful. The bridge that connects the human world, or the living from the dead world, it's gorgeous. Those orange petals and all the bright vibrant colors, the bright vibrant animals, the way that they're animated, the bones, all of it is. It's a gorgeous film, and the music is just the one where Mama Imelda sings La Llorona. That's an amazing song. And Un Poco Loco, that's a great song. Remember Me, obviously it's classic. The movie's, it's so rewatchable, and I do not get tired of watching it. I could watch it every single day and just never get bored of that movie. And for me, that's why it's my number one. I know for some of you guys it's not going to be, and that's okay. But I want to know what everyone else's lists are. Okay, that's my list. If you have any beef with my list, it's fine. We can go ahead and chop it up outside. I got a couple fists. You can have. I'm just kidding. But no, let's talk about it. Get on the Instagram. That's cam.cast. I want to hear what your favorite Pixar movies are. I have a poll going right now. Okay, and I want you guys to get in on it, and I'll share it, and we can have conversations about it. Right now, we have a current beef about somebody loves Ratatouille and somebody's saying that they don't like Ratatouille. So it's fun. I'm enjoying it. It's just really funny for me. But now, you guys, this is my Pixar ranking until Luca comes out. My guess is Luca probably won't be high on my list anyways. It doesn't look like a very good Pixar movie, but who knows? Who knows? But other than that, this is, I love doing rankings. There's something about rankings. It's so pure, and it's fun to see where your rankings stack up compared to anybody else. So this was fun. But as always, you guys, make sure you're subscribing, liking, sharing on all the different platforms I'm able to do it on. And I want to know your list. And if you want, DM me or message me on Instagram or in the comments on YouTube. I want to know what you guys want to hear from me. Do you guys want me to do more sports? Do you guys want me to do more movies? Do you want me to do TV show reviews? I do want to do an Invincible review, though, the show that was on Amazon Prime, the animated show, because it's phenomenal. And J.K. Simmons is an amazing voice actor, besides just, asking people to get him pictures of Spider-Man. But I will be doing that at some point. I just wanted to make this fun one because ranking videos are always fun to me. But let me know what you think, you guys. So thanks for listening. And, what do I call you guys? Camcasters, camcasties, castholes? I'm going to call you castholes. I like that one. Castholes. Yeah, camcast holes. Just cast holes. I think castholes is good. I got to stop saying that. All right, guys. Thanks so much for listening. And as always, peace and love. Thanks.